Coming up on this edition of the Red Sox Rundown by Chat Sports, the Red Sox get good news. I'm going to examine what that good news is coming up here in a second. The Sox also made a signing this morning that I think is pretty interesting, which we will also discuss. And then we were going to hit some Red Sox news and notes. That also includes a Masataka Yoshida injury update and a few other notes at the end of the video. But before we get into anything, we are knocking on the door of 500 subscribers. We are at 464 subscribers right now. We only need 36 to get halfway to 1,000. So if this is your first time watching the Red Sox Rundown, you like what you see, we're going to have daily videos on the Red Sox news, rumors, spring training recaps, everything under the sun we will have here on the Red Sox Rundown. So if you're one of the 36 people that is not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But the first story that we have to talk about today is the Red Sox got some good news, and that good news, ladies and gentlemen, the Red Sox have been named the favorites by numerous people in baseball media to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in MLB free agency this offseason. This all kicked off earlier this morning when Jeff Passan reported that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays did not reach an agreement on a contract extension. Vladdy's deadline was Monday night. They could not come to an agreement on a contract extension, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has made it clear that he will not negotiate a contract extension during the season. So that means that Vladdy will be a free agent once the 2025 MLB season is over. And all I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, is here we go. The Red Sox have been linked to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for years now. He has made it known that he wants to come to Boston. He has liked social media posts alluding to him playing in Boston. And we got a few tweets from industry sources, industry leaders in baseball media that also suggest the Red Sox might be the favorite. John Heyman, first off, right after this news came out, very early favorites to land Vlad Jr. this winter. Number one, the Red Sox. He says number two, the Mets, assuming Pete Alonso opts out. And number three, the New York Yankees. Then we have Bob Nightengale tweeting a little bit later. It's no secret that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has told friends that if he hits free agency, he would love to play for the Boston Red Sox. Free agency begins in 8.5 months as Guerrero officially enters spring training without a contract. Now, I was conversing with some people on Twitter this morning, some of my friends on Twitter, and they said, Jack, it's weird. Why is Toronto not one of the finalists or one of the leading favorites for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. said in his press conference today that he would love to play for the Blue Jays for the rest of his life. Guys, let's be real. Let's be real here for a second. Vlad is not going back to Toronto. Money is not everything. And as we saw in the tweet from Bob Nightengale, a fit for him means more, I think, than money. Now, money obviously is a big factor, and obviously he was asking for more money with Toronto, but the reason why he was asking for more money is because he'd rather not play for Toronto. He will play for Toronto with a much larger price tag, but if he has the option to go to a Boston for maybe a little less, I think he would rather take that route than go to Toronto. He wants to win, and he made that clear in his press conference today when he was discussing what was happening with his contract. He said this: when asked what he will be looking for in free agency, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had one more zinger. He said a winning team. That is very interesting because if you look at the Blue Jays, they are nowhere near a World Series window. And after this season, they're going to be even less further away. They're going to be even more further away from a World Series window because Bo Bichette's going to be a free agent. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., like we're discussing, is going to be a free agent. Chris Bassett, I believe, is 1 year left on his deal. Like, some of the key pieces on the roster are not going to be there. So this team that's already competing for 4th or 5th in the AL East is losing its key superstars. They are not going to be a winning team anytime soon, where, on the other hand, the Red Sox, the future is bright. You bring in Garrett Crochet, hopefully you extend him. You bring in Alex Bregman, hopefully he stays for more than 1 year. You've got an exciting young core of Jaron Duran, Ceddanne Rafaela. You've got Wilyer Abreu, and you've got others, and you've got this farm system, guys, this farm system that is coming up. Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer. The Red Sox are primed to win. The Red Sox are about to open a World Series window. And if I'm Vladimir Guerrero Jr., like this personally, if I am Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and I say I want to win, and I've already mentioned that I want to potentially go to the Red Sox, why wouldn't you want to be a part of the Red Sox? The Boston is on the verge of a World Series window, like I just mentioned. Toronto is not. And we've already seen in the Juan Soto sweepstakes that Boston was willing to give out the money if you came to Boston. Why wouldn't Vladimir Guerrero Jr. want to be a part of what is potentially going to be a very exciting World Series window? I don't understand that. The Red Sox were the little brother in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. I don't think they're the little brother here. Legitimately. I think the Red Sox have the edge in these negotiations. And I think that I really do, like, just off the top of the dome, early predictions, I think Vladdy ends up with the Red Sox. But you tell me, will Vladimir Guerrero Jr. be on the Red Sox next season? If you think he will, type a Y for yes in the comments. If you think he won't, hit me with an N for no. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Just based on everything we've heard, right now, I think he will. Let's look at the player. Because we can talk all we want about contracts. We can talk all we want about social media tweets and things like that. What does he bring to the Red Sox? This guy's a superstar. Obviously, he had the season a few years ago where he competed with Shohei for MVP, but this last season was arguably his second best season of his career. He had a .323 batting average, hit 30 home runs. He had 103 RBIs. He had an OPS of 940, but it goes further than that. If you look at the advanced stats, this guy is a monster. He had a 166 OPS plus. His hard hit percentage, which means, the percentage of times he makes a hit is it a hard hit, over half, 55%. His average exit velo was 93.8 miles per hour. His expected batting average, he is in the 100 percentile of expected batting average, which is insane. And then you look at K rate, which is something that the Red Sox have desperately been trying to fix. When you talk about K percentage, he is in the 93rd percentile. Basically what I'm trying to say is Vladdy is absolutely ridiculous. Now, I know you've got Triston Casas, and that's a story for a different video. What do you do with Triston Casas if Vladdy comes to Boston? If you get rid of Yoshida, does Triston move to DH and you keep Devers? There are ways you can make this work, but also if Casas comes out and turns out to be a bona fide superstar and you land Vladdy, does that up his trade value in the offseason? There's a lot of different moving pieces that come from this, but there is no doubt that if you get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on your team, he is going to be an absolute superstar. He is ridiculous. He is one of the best players in the league, and if the Red Sox get him, watch out, folks. It's going to be interesting. But there is another part of this to think about. What if Toronto is not in the hunt and they decide to trade him? Jared Carrabis was on Wake and Jake from John Boy Media today, and he said this. If they're not in it, talking about the Toronto Blue Jays, by the deadline, Vladdy's going to be a piece for somebody. That might be the crown jewel of the trade deadline is Vladdy if the Blue Jays aren't in it. Which is interesting because does that team that trades for him sign him to an extension? Does Vladdy even hit free agency to talk about? Now, where I stand on this entire thing, unless you can guarantee an extension, I wouldn't make the trade. I think more likely than not, I'd give it 85-15. Vladdy, if he were to be traded, would still go to free agency. I would rather take those odds than have to give up a haul for a one-year rental if you cannot guarantee the extension. He will be a free agent. That is your window to add him. Do not give up big prospects and major league level players if you're not going to guarantee that you're going to sign him to an extension the second he steps in Boston. I think you wait it out. You let him test free agency, and then you sign him there. That is my opinion on the entire thing. I don't think you make the trade. I think you wait. And at the end of the day, like I said, he will test free agency. I think he will be a Red Sox. You let me know, though. You play Craig Breslow. Would you trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? If you would, type T for trade. If you would not, and you would rather elect for him to go to free agency, type P for pass. Let me know down below. That question will also be in the comments, so make sure you go down below and let me know. Before we get on to Red Sox news and notes to finish out the video, one more time I'm going to remind you, we are trying to get to 500 subscribers as soon as possible. We are sitting at 464 subscribers, which means we only need 36 subscribers to get to that milestone. Guys, if we could get there in the first 4-5 days of the channel's existence, that's unprecedented, I think, in chat sports history, as far as I know in the record books. So help us get there. 36 subscribers needed. The latest Red Sox news, rumors, trade rumors we're going to be talking about when spring training games start this week. We're going to be recapping every game during the regular season. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button right now. To close out the show, I figure a lot has happened in the last day or so. Let's hit a few Red Sox news and notes. I'm going to go through these a little quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but there are some interesting nuggets that have come out over the past few days, specifically today. And the first one, the Red Sox made a signing. They actually made 2 signings last night. They were minor league depth pieces, so I didn't cover them. But this one is significant. Adam Ottovino was signed by the Red Sox. It was a minor league deal with a camp invite. So he's already at camp, according to Chris Cotillo, who says that he will get a $2 million base salary if he makes the MLB roster, sources say. He's already at camp. This is not the first time we've seen Adam Ottovino on the Red Sox. He was with the Red Sox in 2021. And look, here's my take on this entire thing. He's not bad. If you look at his stats, his base level stats, he's solid. He would be good depth if he makes the roster. Of course, the Cutter Crawford injury, we still don't know a lot about that. Brian Bayo started throwing yesterday, according to Alex Cora, so that's a good sign that he'll be ready for opening day. But if Cutter goes down and he misses a significant period of time, and you don't have proper depth, which I think you do. I think you have Richard Fitz, you have Quinn Priester who are going to be in AAA. But this is just another safety net, another arm that you can have in case 1, 2, 3 injuries happen to the rotation. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but still something to monitor nonetheless. We did have some other Red Sox injury news as well. This one is good. Masataka Yoshida had his press conference day, and he said that he is planning to be ready for opening day, which I'm happy about. Masa is a fan favorite. People love him. And at the end of the day, also, if you look at the stats, Masa's not bad. He's going to get on base consistently, which is something you need in this Red Sox rotation. The Red Sox lineup, excuse me. At the end of the day, he's in the middle of an unfortunate situation. Rafael Devers, you want to potentially move him off third. You don't want to move him to first because you have Triston Casas. Naturally, he should step in to the DH role. But with Masa not really having much defensive value, Masa needs to stay in the DH role. So he's in the middle of an unfortunate situation. He's a good player. His stats on paper look good. He's going to get on base. He's going to make solid contact. He just happens to be in the middle of an unfortunate situation. However, Alex Cora did talk today, and he talked about how Masa is going to have to show some defensive value this year, and I wholeheartedly agree. Specifically because if you want to trade him, which they've been trying to do all offseason, if you want to trade him, you need to rebuild up his value. His value was at an all-time low after this season. The way you can do that is if you add defensive value. If you can show that he can still be a defender in the outfield, that will add value when you get to the trade deadline and someone might be looking to take on a piece like Masa. That is something that he desperately needs to do. I'm confident that he will. I found it weird last year why they just didn't play him in the outfield. Now, obviously, we found out it was because of the shoulder injury, but play him in the outfield when he can, have a rotation, get people off their legs. Duran's not going to play 162 this year. He's going to get days off. Up his trade value, then you can probably ship him out, hopefully, around the trade deadline. Last piece I want to talk about real quick, Triston Casas had his annual press conference, and of course, you're going to have a lot of interesting quotes. He's a very polarizing figure in the Red Sox organization, but this is the one that I saw, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's great. They asked about Bregman and Devers and things like that, and this is what he said. He said, I think Bregman should play second, which I agree with. Says Raffy is the third baseman, which I agree with. This is the part, though, right here. says he doesn't think Campbell, Anthony, or Myers should be on the opening day roster. Look, these guys are still, rookies trying to battle it out. I understand that, but there's going to be competition. Whether or not they make the roster is another thing. But just to say it like day 2 of position players showing up to camp might be a troll, and I think people on Twitter are speculating that he was trolling, but it still doesn't look great, especially when you might potentially end up being a leader on the team. I'm not saying Casas is going to be a leader on the team. I don't even know if he wants to be a leader on the team, but he is one of the more vocal voices of the team. I don't think you should just be discounting the new guys so early into spring training. I'm not saying any of the big 3 are going to make the opening day roster, but I don't think we should discount them day 1 is what I'm trying to say. But look, Casas is who he is. I don't think it's that big of a deal. We're not even going to be talking about this quote come tomorrow. So I just wanted to discuss it because I thought it was interesting, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. All right, before we get out of here, spring training games start this week. I'm pumped up. I know you're going to be pumped up. The big 3 are going to be getting a lot of at-bats this spring, and I'm excited to watch it. If you're excited for spring training games to start, hit the like button. Let's show the Sox that you are excited for them to hit the field again this season. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching every single game that is streamed. I know all of them aren't going to be streamed, but I'm excited for the Red Sox to take the field once again. That's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. And until next time, go Sox.